I'm your host, Mike Page. Thanks again for joining us. We are keeping an eye on the big international story as we are awaiting to hear more major news coming out of Iran. These protests have been continuing, and we're hearing just disturbing reports of many protesters being killed, and we are keeping an eye on all of the developments. But what is key here for many in Iran is having a communication, and right now that could be really going in and out as those rolling blackouts continue. But Elon Musk has been offering up free Starlink in Iran. We want to continue to get updates on that right here for you on Live Now from Fox. Let's bring in our next guest to help break it all down from the Wall Street Journal, Benoit Faucon. Thanks so much for joining us, Benoit, on this major story. What have we been learning about Elon Musk's offer here?
I mean, what we do know is that he has said in the past already that he wanted to be sure that there would be a waiver, on providing Starlink satellite services to Iran. That was back in 2022 during previous protests. And it turns out it was already authorized. There was already a sanction waiver on anything in Iran, any software or services, satellite services that can alleviate or bypass censorship on the internet. So in a way, legally, from a US perspective, it's already possible.
And tell us just what is a rollout like this? I mean, is it something where they can just maybe flip a switch, and because Starlink is, all up in space right now, they're able to get it? I mean, what does a rollout look like here?
I mean, that's not a huge number. There's not a huge number, but it's a critical number. Those that are already set up. I mean, in recent days, when I wanted to speak to someone, there was no other way, right? So I was only able to reach people who had Starlink, very small number, but I was learning a lot. Like today, for instance, I was speaking to someone who told me, there's still fire beneath the ashes. There's still protest. You may not see them, not the most recent ones, on TV. They're much harder to send, on video, but they're still there. So from a, to create some transparency about what's happening in this country, Starlink has been really in recent days the only way. Now it seems it was a little bit easier. There was some reconnection today, but as far as the days that I followed the blackout on Thursday, that was really the only way to know really what was happening in that country.
And Benoit, tell us about how the communication has been for you trying to reach the story and talk to the people inside Iran. How's that been like so far?
So I would say everything was delayed. So you'd really, before you'd have videos very quickly after the protest. In that case, it was several hours, very often the next morning. So there was that element. Second, there was all the people that I would speak to normally on WhatsApp and other types of really classical phone lines. That was impossible. They were unreachable in all the cities that I speak to normally, whether Tehran or in the provinces. So the only way was this very select, small number of people who had Starlink. That was the only way I could know what was happening. And what was happening, has become much harder since Thursday night. You had a large number of killings, including people being shot in the back. It happened in a much more limited fashion, especially in the countryside, in the previous days, but it really escalated in the days after the shutdown.
And lastly, how could the bad actors use Starlink? Maybe are they able to track? Okay, who's uploading? Where is this all coming from when it comes to people trying to get the word out about what's really going on the ground there?
So the thing is, number one, the importance of that service is it doesn't go for the normal conventional, telecom operators in Iran. So it's much harder to track. It's much harder to track the content of what's being delivered out of the country. There are tools that they're using, which is jamming, the satellite signals, but they do it very typically during the protest. It's never entirely successful. It's never continuous. So you do have some degree of access, even though they're trying to disrupt it. So in a way, a solution from a US policy perspective is probably to try to jam the jammers here.
It's also interesting, and I mean, obviously, such a very, very disturbing reports coming out of Iran for these protesters and the amount that could be killed. We are waiting to see what the response could be, if any, from the U.S. But Benoit, thanks so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox, giving us some great insight about the communication levels there in Iran.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
You take care. All right, everyone. We will take another 2-minute break. We will be following this story for you throughout the evening and in the coming days, no doubt. We'll take a 2-minute break, be back with more on Live Now from Fox.